It's a new year, but let's do the same thing I did last year. I played a whole lot of indie games over the years, man. Like, I love indie games so much, and I want to make sure to shout out whichever games I play that I think are worthwhile. I did a video over in the summer of 2025 talking about the indie games that I've played thus far that I really enjoyed, and of course, I played a few more leading into January 2026. Not as many, but hey, we got 10 plus more indie games I want to just do a quick little shout out for. Not every one of these games actually released last year, but I played them last year, so it counts. It counts, man. Let's talk about indie games, baby. I'm told you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but when you see a video game titled called Squirrel with the Gun, bro, I bought the game immediately, like sight unseen. This is a sandbox game where you play as a squirrel who I guess is like an evil experiment because you're escaping government custody. You destroy one of the government agents and you take their gun, and then you go around the city and you just blow shit up, man, as a squirrel, and you get acorns from people. This game is incredible. This is one of those games where, like, doing any kind of objective review on like a grading scale makes no sense in the world, man, because, like, look at this. Look, this is why I love video games. This is, of course, not a 10 out of 10 video game. It's never going to be a perfect video game, but just look at it though. It's a squirrel and you have multiple guns actually, and then you can have vehicles and just run around the city just causing havoc and then getting collectibles because you can change your costume, I guess, which is just your fur coat. Like, dude. This game is so stupid, but it's amazing. I love it. Squirrel with the gun, just look at it. Oh, it's so good. Morsels sold me on its incredible art style and pixel work. Like, this game just looks fantastic from start to finish. Like, the artwork for every single weird amorphous creature is just disgusting, and they move so weirdly and unsettlingly smooth. But man, it's still beautiful at the same time. Now, it all depends on whether or not you like roguelike, because this is a top-down roguelike action game. There are a ton of them out there, but this does have a bit of a unique quirk, kinda, because it's also like a creature collector game, because you can turn into these different morsels that you get as you're running around these environments staying alive, and every single time you get a new morsel, they all come with unique abilities and attacks. You could swap between them on the fly, and you know, it's still a roguelike at the end of the day. You will be dying a lot. Every level is randomized, and you're just gonna go back to the start and do it all over again, all for the effort of just collecting as much stuff as you can, you know, before you actually go back into the gameplay. It's a roguelike. You kind of know what these are at this point. There are so many of these. Mechanically speaking, it's definitely not the most unique experience in the world. Having a top-down shooter roguelike, like, this is not an original idea. However, having it in this really beautiful and kind of, I don't even want to say creepy, but again, just very unsettling and makes you feel uneasy just looking at it, and the sounds are very, like, gooey at times, still made this a worthwhile experience if you can tolerate roguelikes, because that's the one thing. That's the crux for so many people. But if you like roguelikes and you like this weird, creepy pixel art that moves incredibly smoothly, Morsels is a really good time. This is an oldie, but I just want to mention it because I rediscovered it for the first time in, like, I don't know, man, like 7 or 8 years, but Assault Android Cactus. This game is sick. Just this mega intense twin stick shooter. You have a whole arsenal of different robot girls to play as, and they each have different weapons and different specials, and it's just this onslaught of firepower coming from all angles. But you also have to get these power-up things so you can activate those specials, and you have to pay attention to your battery meter because it's very easy to lose that and then die. And the visuals are really cool because it feels like you're inside a computer the entire time, and oh, it's just so cool and it's so frantic, and oh, it's sick. This is not a new game, but it runs really well. It was just so much fun to play, and I picked up right where I left off and got right into the groove immediately. I once again got impressed by the visuals of some of the characters because, like, their mouth movements are very detailed. Like almost too much so, but you know, it still looks very good. It's a pretty good looking video game. I had played this game years and years ago when it first released on Switch, but never beat it, and then just had it sitting on the Switch this entire time. And so one day I said, screw it, I'm gonna pop it back on, and I had a blast. So I want to share that with you as well. Assault Android Cactus Plus on Switch, actually. At this point, I guess it's an oldie, but hey, still a goodie. I had been following Kingdoms of the Dump for years because what brilliant wordplay to make a fantastic looking and sounding Super Nintendo styled RPG. You play as a trash can known as Dustin Binsley in the lands of Phil when the king of Garbagia has been kidnapped, or, sorry, I should clarify, trash picked, and then you go on a big adventure to stop a giant threat from engulfing all of the other kingdoms. Just that premise alone, great. You're not really gonna find a game with this unique of a premise where it is a very basic idea wrapped up on something that you know the developers thought of as just cute wordplay and then expanded upon into a gigantic universe. This game is awesome. The team is actually 2 full-time janitors also, so like, it is perfect, honestly. The exploration is incredibly traditional. You run around in an almost isometric looking environment, and it's kind of Earthbound inspired. I mean, so many indie games are Earthbound inspired, but just the way you move and the way the environment looks, it just gave off those vibes to me. Not to be ironic with the Earthbound reference, but that's just how it felt to me. But you're running away from bad guys, you're collecting a bunch of junk as your currency, you're partnering up with just like a rat, and there's more garbage-based puns throughout the entire game. It's all kind of gross while still being beautiful, because I've said this already in this video, but this pixel art, oh, it's incredible. And the battle system is really unique. This turn-based grid style that I've just not really seen before in any other RPG. Now, surely every idea is taken from something like a 3x3 grid style. My mind immediately goes to Mega Man Battle Network, but presented in this way, I have not played an RPG like this before, so that was really refreshing. The world has been in a desperate need for a 16-bit RPG where you can battle against a refrigerator, and damn it, Kingdoms of the Dump delivers. Ball Pit was initially pitched to me as this year's Vampire Survivors or Balatro, just something where you see a whole bunch of numbers go up and it fills you with joy every single time it happens. Honestly, that comparison, kind of valid, but I don't care if I'm comparing this to another game that I love where the same things kind of happen, because it's still incredibly addicting. You take the whole idea of another roguelike where you start off basic and then you're getting a whole bunch of power-ups and you can eventually combine power-ups to make yourself an unstoppable beast, but you make the gameplay style a ball launcher, honestly, of your choice. It could be something like Pachinko, it could be Arkanoid, whatever your mind gravitates towards. Your character's sitting there at the bottom, you're tossing a bunch of balls to a wall of enemies that's constantly approaching you, and you just have to survive. Every time you level up, you're gaining new balls for your arsenal that have a whole bunch of different attributes. You can also have the option to gain a whole bunch of passives. You eventually gain the ability to combine 2 special balls, and eventually you learn about special combinations called fusions to power yourself up even more. And then when you're done with the run, you've been gathering resources the whole time as well, and then there's like a farming mechanic. Okay, you're building up this area to gain more resources. You can toss a few of your guys out to bounce around the field a little bit, gain even more resources, gain more characters, gain more passives. It's a constant level of progression over and over again. And if you ever liked playing with the ball and throwing it in a wall and catching it, I think Ball Pit's going to be for you. This is a really fun game, and there's a lot of DLC coming too because the game did really well. So congrats, the Ball Pit team. Good stuff. Really fun game. The August Indie World Showcase introduced me to Is This Sea Taken, and I was sold immediately with this because I'm always in the mood for a good mind-bending puzzle game, and this really scratch that itch. It's such an interesting premise. So you're presented a whole bunch of different scenarios. It could be a movie theater, it could be a bus ride, it could be a picnic, it could be a whole bunch of different things. There's a bunch of empty seats available and a bunch of patrons who want to be seated. Every single character though has a little bit of a weird quirk. They can't just sit there and enjoy their time. They all gotta be annoyingly picky. Some characters want to be alone, some characters want to sit next to someone specific, some characters are adults and they want to sit next to their kids, some characters are talking a whole lot, some characters want there to be silence around them. They eventually introduce standing locations, so sometimes characters want to stand while others want to sit, so you gotta be careful of that. In the movie theater, you gotta pay attention to which rows characters are in because they don't want someone in front of them blocking the screen. That makes sense. That's obnoxious. And because the environments are changing on every single round, it stays fresh throughout the entire experience because you're using your real world knowledge of what these environments are and attaching that to the gameplay loop that is consistently challenging your brain. It's really cool, man. I will say playing this on Switch, the controls are a little bit annoying. On PC, using the mouse makes all the sense in the world, but sticking on the Switch with just an analog stick, it can be a little annoying. You're not always picking the exact thing you want to, but that is a minor annoyance in the grand scheme of things because I still love Is This Sea Taken. Really just amplifies the whole idea of sometimes, I don't know, man, just sit down and shut up and you'll get to your destination. Not these people though. These people want to be taken care of to a T. I just have to do another quick shout out to UFO 50 because it made its console debut last year on the Switch. I initially played this on PC and adore it. I think it is one of the greatest indie games of all time. To have 50 really full-fledged looking NES games that are brand new, there's some continuity there with the studio that was making all of these fake NES games, and so many of them are just incredible. The Night Party one, like, oh my god, I'm addicted to that game still. And my biggest concern when the game initially released was its audience was going to be very limited because it didn't release on console, and now it's there. And in 2026, it's actually going to be getting a physical release thanks to Fangamer, and that is incredible. So if you're waiting on that, Oh, I'm telling you, this game is worth it. I've already double dipped on it. I might get the physical. There's also a really cool book that you can get with it too, a companion guide. So I know I'm getting that, but I'm telling you, UFO 50, this is one of the greatest things of all time. 2026 may be getting a brand new game in the Rhythm Heaven franchise, which I adore so much, but until then, here we have Bits and Bops. Make no mistake, this is 1,000,000% a Rhythm Heaven clone, but because we only have a couple Rhythm Heaven games and it has been so long since the last full-fledged one, I will take anything I can get. The team that made this game 100% understands what makes a Rhythm Heaven game so much fun. The music is incredibly catchy, the visuals are so well done and filled with charm, and a lot of the minigames are telling micro stories throughout their song. It's not just you have to pay attention to the beat, do that for like 2 minutes, get a grade, and then you're done. No, pay attention visually because something might be happening. I really loved the game about the ants walking across the house, gathering food. Like you're just pressing the A button over and over again, but you look at them go. So I love them. Plus, if the Rhythm Heaven franchise is new to you, you don't know one of the biggest appeals of these franchises being the remixes, or as this game calls them, the mixtapes, which take all of the minigames that you've done in the current row and then mashes them all together in one brand new song. So you had your chance to learn, now it's time to get good. These are the best parts of all of these games, and oh man, just having another one of them. Melatonin was another good one that was more lo-fi based. There you go, pop an image of Melatonin on the screen because that game was pretty good too. But Bits and Bops. Oh, this game is great, and even though we have a new Rhythm Heaven game coming out this year, don't let this one pass you by. Bits and Bops, so good. I don't really have a ton to say about Hades 2 yet because I'm still going through it, haven't completed it yet, but I mean, I have to mention it because like, it's Hades, man. It really is just like more Hades, and Hades is one of the greatest roguelikes of all time, and this is kind of better, so yeah, man, Hades 2 is incredible. And also a really good showcase for the Switch 2 because it runs at 120 frames per second. And it's not like 60 FPS is unplayable for a game like this, no, but Hades is such a smooth playing game. The second you move your character with the analog stick and press a button to do an attack, you feel connected on a spiritual level with this character, and having more frames just makes it a better experience. This team does not specialize in sequels, but they knew they had something special with Hades, and I am so glad they made a full-blown sequel. This game, the story is really good, the characters are so adorable, or hot. You know, there's adorable characters, but honestly, they're mostly hot. And it's just one of the most addicting roguelikes you could ever imagine. Like, I've accepted that I just like roguelikes as a genre, but honestly, even if you're not the biggest fan of roguelikes, give Hades a shot. Dying is actually part of the story, so that makes these games special. Crypt Custodian is a cat game. I will take as many cat games as I possibly can. So you play as a dead cat, actually. You had just died, and you were the goodest boy in the world, but right at the very end, when you're about to go to the good place, you made a little oopsie, so now it's your job to clean up a bunch of mess in the not good place. There you go, that's the start of the game. What happens afterwards is a top-down Metroidvania. The visuals are fantastic, the music is appropriately fitting, all the different characters, and really the entire world is just so charming and fun to explore, and combat takes a strong focus as well, and that's really fun too. There's really like not a whole lot of negatives about this game. Like there are some parts that are harder than others, and that can be a little annoying. Of course, you just feel like you're on a good run and then you hit a bit of a difficulty spike. That can be a little bit much, but honestly, man, just playing a cute little cat game, and I'm more interested in dealing with like the pretty satisfying puzzles more than anything. And you know, this game has that as well. So just a fun game all around, man. I want more cat games. I've just accepted, like, if you have a game that stars a cat, I'm probably going to be pretty interested, honestly. Legend of Santa. Well, you haven't heard of this one before? You know, all the scrolling on the eShop that you may or may not be doing, you probably saw this and then scrolled past it because you were like, wow, this is just a blatant Mario 3 clone. Yep, but you know what? I played this game co-op over the holiday break, and I was Santa, my partner was a little elf. It took us like an hour to beat, but it was fun. It played well, you know. The bosses were fine. They were a little annoying, but not that big of a deal. The music was kind of charming. You know, it was all Christmassy. You know, sometimes there are games in life that you look at for like $2 and it's the right time of year. You know, during the holiday season, you can throw some Halloween garbage at me, some Christmas garbage at me, and I'm gonna be down. Legend of Santa, especially if you have someone to play with, I actually think it's worth it. I'm not gonna lie to you. But in that same breath, for the Halloween season, I found a little game here called Silver Bullet, an arcade shooter game with a really spooky aesthetic and great pixel work. You just play as this old man with a rapid fire crossbow, you're doing a linear progression of levels, every level is a different gallery shooter, and then just see how far you can go before eventually game over and have to start back at the beginning because it's an arcade game. I'm a big fan of indie horror games for the Halloween season as much as the next fan, but sometimes having just a very charming Halloween game is just the right thing you need. So similar to Legend of Santa that I said before, Silver Bullet, man, this is a really fun time. Wormhole. It's another roguelike. But it's the last one of this video, I promise you. Again, man, I get it. You see roguelike games all the time, but I saw this and it is roguelike Snake, like old, you know, TI-83 calculator, you don't want to pay attention to math class looking game, but as a roguelike. And you're going around, you're eating planets, you're going through galaxies, you're avoiding bad guys, and then you gain more characters, you gain more different types of worms and snakes that do a bunch of different abilities, and like, it's just cool and satisfying, man. Like, I've accepted, I just really like roguelikes, okay? Like, I'm just a fan of roguelikes. You know, say what you will about this genre. It's giving a new spicy take on the classic Snake formula, which I cannot believe in the mid-2020s I'm saying out loud, but that's pretty cool. This is a pretty cool video game. I love the simplistic art style, the sound effects are so punchy and it makes every time you bite into something feel so powerful, and it's called Wormhole. Like, that's just a genius title. Hogtie is another one of those games that you immediately look at and I feel like I would say, okay, it's just another basic puzzle game that you probably see on your mobile phone and they just got ported to the Switch, no big deal. However, it did do something that I thought was actually fairly impressive. You play as a guy on a horse, you gotta tie up a pig and then bring it back to your shed. I have played so many different tile-based puzzle games in the years and the whole idea is, okay, do this whole puzzle in the least amount of moves possible. But I, personally, have never played a game where it was that idea, but you also had to guide something to your destination. Something about that simplicity, just that very simple take, made me really go, oh, okay, I'll give this game a shot. Another cheap little indie game that really will test your brain in some of the later levels to get 3 stars and be as efficient as possible. It's no frills, but every new world introduces a new mechanic. And if you're someone like me that in the midst of your entire backlog of Switch games that is probably never ending, really wanting a game that you can just pick up and play for 5 minutes because you don't know what else to do, Hogtie fits that niche perfectly. So I found this game called Gum Plus, which is another tile-based puzzle game, and you're a little gum monster, and you have to just move blocks around because you're sticky and you're gum, so you attach yourself to them and you have to detach from them in order to get to the destination. That's it. It's just a basic puzzle game with a neat concept, and it's another basic art style. I'm a big fan of just really cool, cheap indie games, you know? Sometimes I just need a good old brain bender to remind myself there are certain days I'm just not that bright, and Gum Plus really was a showcase of that. Thank you, weird little gum creature. So yeah, that is my lineup of indie games that I played in the latter half of 2025. If I missed some, and I know I did, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. There are going to be some more indie game videos coming out in the near future that are going to be covering some of the games that I know I missed here, but the more love to indie games, the better. Dude, they gave a squirrel a gun. I love video games.